What's up, y'all? Welcome back. You cannot stay here. I'm not talking about here as in the channel. I'm talking about that sunken place. And it's a place that I've been in, and I've been in for a while. It's a place where you feel stuck, you're stagnant, you're unmotivated. You know you have so much potential. You could be doing so much more, but it's just so hard to do the things that you say you're going to do, and you get a little spark of optimism and motivation, and just like that, you know, like the wind passing by, it's gone again. And you guys know I really love learning about the mind. Like, I love learning how the mind works, you know, like how the brain functions. So a couple of years ago, I was watching a video. It was an interview with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I call him Uncle Joe because I love his enthusiasm for, you know, the things that he talks about. And he was breaking down how we become addicted to our trauma, how we become addicted to our negative thoughts. And basically, you know, the stress hormone creates arousal, and we can become addicted to that. And so I wanted to research it for this video to correctly put it into words. But we all know those people where it doesn't matter how much positive you come into the conversation with, they always spin it into something negative. Woe is me, the world is ending, you know, there's so much bad out there. And it's like they become addicted to trauma. They like watching traumatic news articles to kind of feed whatever it is that they're feeling. And that is true for, I feel like, any of our emotions. And the way AI puts it is that the stress addiction can develop over time and can lead to a dependence on stressful situations or stress hormones. When the stress response becomes habitual, people may seek out more stress, such as overworking, and this can lead to a physiological high that becomes addictive. So yeah, that is why change is so hard, and why you fight tooth and nail to try to keep yourself in this space that it is uncomfortable. You don't like your reality, but you are addicted to your reality in a sense because of the arousal that it gives you. Like these thoughts, you want to go deeper into these thoughts and look for things in your external environment to validate how you're feeling. And this is something that I had picked up on in myself. I had a personal situation happen, or a tragedy happen in my personal world. And of course, I was feeling sad about it. And when I naturally let my mind do what it does, without trying to train it, I found myself going to Facebook to try to feed this feeling of sadness. I'm talking about, I knew what was going to be up and down my timeline. It was going to be an abundance of sad posts, and I found myself drawn to that. I found myself trying to look and see if other people were feeling this type of sadness that I was feeling. You know, kind of like when someone popular passes away, we go to the people that we know they were close to, and we kind of like page watch to see when they're going to make a public post, because we're feeling this way and we need to know that they're feeling this way. And I was trying to, you know, envision what happened in that moment just to validate the sadness that, you know, I was feeling. So and saying that if we know this is what we naturally do, and you're in this sunken place, whatever has caused your sunken place, or whatever it may be, you know, a job that no longer brings you fulfillment, you've hit your max, you know, you're really good at your job, you're comfortable with your coworkers, the pay is okay, you can make do with it, then that is why it's so hard. And that is why it's so hard to bring about change. It's because you're going to convince yourself to stay right where you are, because something that's new is kind of like stranger danger. If you are with someone or entertaining someone, you know, that you know you've outgrown, you know that you need to separate ties with this person, but you've been with this person so long, you know, you've invested so much time, this person is convenient, and it's just something or someone that our minds have marked as safe, because once again, whatever is new is stranger danger. We've never experienced it before, and so it can kind of rattle us a bit. I mean, new is hard, new is strange, new is scary, and I think it's the fear of the unknown really that keeps us stuck in our little bubbles. And that has been something I have been battling, and I think I have been saying that for so long, that I have just been in a sunken place. And I'll be completely honest, I've been in a sunken place for a very, very long time. It's like something weird happens after you turn 30. You have no idea who you are. You have no idea what you like anymore. Everything has changed. Your perspective has changed or matured, I will say. And I don't really think it's a midlife crisis or whatever they may call it. I think it's just awareness. And I know, like with me, you become a lot more aware of your likes, your dislikes. You're a lot more aware of people's behaviors, and sometimes awareness it doesn't always feel good. It can quickly send you spiraling if you are too aware, you know, of things that are going on, especially in the outside world. But the way that I like to think of all of this, if I had to paint a mental picture, is that you are on a cliff. And the cliff that you are standing on is your sunken place. It's your comfort zone. It's stagnant. It is unfulfillment. It is your daily routine that maybe is not really working for you anymore, but you're trying to force it and make it work. It's what you know. It's your hometown. It's your job. You know, it's this person that you're holding on to. And at the bottom of the cliff is the potential. It's that new whatever it is. It's that new person. It is fulfillment, or the possibility of fulfillment. But it looks dark and it looks scary, and you don't really know how you're going to land or where you're going to land if you make that jump. And so you're kind of looking over it and you're biting your nails and you're trying to convince yourself of all the reasons why you should just stay on this cliff, because you know what it feels like to live in this town. You know what it feels like to be in this job, and you know how to do it well. You know what it feels like to be with this person, just whatever it is. And so you intentionally chain yourself to this pole that is stuck on top of this cliff, and you're leaning over and you're looking down at the possibility of, you know, that new role or the new love of your life, or, you know, the new town, the new atmosphere. But you don't allow yourself to jump because you're used to these thoughts that you have that validate the current reality that you're in. And so it's just a possibility. You just look, but you never jump. And so that is how I've been feeling. Like, I know I've outgrown places and things, and I'm still trying to make them work. Why? Because that's what I'm used to. I'm not used to anything else. And I keep thinking one day I'm going to wake up and it's just all the puzzle pieces are just all gonna fit together without me having to make a very scary big jump. And you know, honestly, I had to take like a very hard look at myself in the mirror. Just sit there, and sometimes I literally have conversations with myself. Like, it sounds crazy, but that's just how and who I am. I'll literally have conversations with myself, and I'm like, girl, you are subconsciously keeping yourself in a place that you've outgrown because of the fear of the unknown. And the unknown is scary, yes, but it would be a lot better than this. It's like you intentionally and purposely keeping yourself in a prison just to avoid change. And it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm almost out of here. Every single day I wake up, I am one step closer to death. This life is temporary, and whatever comes after that is forever. And I don't know what comes after this. And yeah, there's a fear of the unknown, but it's something that's going to happen anyway. And so if I have this major fear of something that's going to happen anyway, I might as well just go on and take series of jumps off the cliff to at least experience in this lifetime while I have it. I've hit my max when it comes to a lot of different areas of my life, and it has me thinking of like my plants. I got really into plants during a very dark time in my life. Outside of my kids, I wanted something to learn, I wanted something to nurture, and I like the energy that plants bring. And so I got plants and then more plants and started growing plants and all of that good stuff. And my latest plant I got from a loved one's funeral, peace lily. You know, those are very popular for memorial services. And I named him after my loved one. And he, in his little nursery pot, you know, they come in their nursery pots, and I noticed like he was reaching his max, like a lot of them do. Like they become root bound and they just have nowhere else to go. They've run out of space, and I want my babies to grow big. And I love my plants, like I love my cat, and I love my kids. And so I want to do what I need to do to help them thrive, not just survive, but thrive. And so I decided to get this big old pot from Walmart and take my peace lily that was thriving, beautiful, putting out flowers, and I put it in this big pot with new soil. And I expected it to just soar the way that it had been growing in this new space, right? That wasn't exactly what happened. What happened was that, like leaf by leaf, my peace lily was dying. My baby was dying, and I was devastated and I was frustrated. I was trying new soil. I was trying, you know, new watering techniques. I'm on Google researching why the heck is this not working, because I expected the process to be linear. I said, okay, I took you out of this place. I put you in a bigger spot. I thought you were going to spread out and grow, but you're dying. Why is this not working? And I'm looking at myself and I am speaking to myself in the mirror, and like that is exactly how I expected growth to be, or how I am expecting growth to be. But when you make that jump off the cliff, it may not be you growing and sprouting instantaneously. It may look like you're dying. Things may not work out. Whatever the heck you jumped off that cliff for, girl, man, things may not work out the way in which you intended it to. But growth is still growth. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer for you to start seeing those changes. And that is something that I want to be intentionally aware about for whatever it is that I'm doing. That, hey, change may look like death for a while. It may look like you're shrinking. It may look like you made a mistake coming out of that comfort zone or that sunken spot. But you have to think, like, you took that risk. You're in a new place. You got to give yourself time to adjust. The only thing that you can do really is to keep going and to keep trying, and nothing is a mistake. It's all a learning lesson, and progress is a series of steps. And so I put my peace lily outside. I was going to put it in the trash, but there was still a little piece of me that wanted to think that it would turn around. So I put it outside to die peacefully. I didn't want to see it. It really hurt my feelings, because this was a special plant to me, and it still is. And would you know what happened? He started growing. He started putting out so many new little baby leaves, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, because typically, you know, they don't like heat. They don't like to be outside, and especially in direct sunlight. But even though that is what was typical, it didn't factor into this peace lily's progress. And so I took him back inside. And he has been growing ever since in his new pot with his new soil, and he sprouted in a place that was supposed to mark his death. And I feel like that is a spot where a lot of us are in. But you may just find that what appears to be death is actually new growth happening beneath the surface or the soil that you may not be seeing. And I've been trying to master the art of detachment so that I don't get into this space where I am thinking that things are dying when in reality I am birthing new life. Like when it comes to me wanting to change things up in my life, or you know, even when it comes down to my channel, I don't want to have the specific title. I don't want to have the specific niche anymore. I want to separate myself from that so that I can continue to jump off the cliff and make new changes. And I feel like I've hit my max, like kind of like talking about the career. I've hit my max with, you know, talking about the things that I have been talking about for years, and I feel like my spirit is drawn to other things now. And I'm like, okay, well, it may appear that your channel's dying when in reality it's trying to birth new life behind the scenes, and you just have to keep going and trust in yourself and trust in the divine and whatever feels right to you, that it's all going to work out the way in which it is supposed to work out. And I feel like that is true for anything. Like, girl, it's gonna work. Whatever happens was supposed to happen, and you have to surrender to everything. Surrender to what you thought it was going to be, how you thought it was going to feel like, how you thought it was going to sound, what you thought it was going to look like, and just ride the journey out in the process. And I'm learning how to find joy and fulfillment during the process, because the end result is never going to give you that. And that is one thing that life has certainly shown me. The end result is not it. The joy is in the journey. And it feels good, like operating on my own time. But of course, I want to give you guys like some tips that you can take to try to get yourself out of this sunken place, or try to understand how you even got in this sunken place at all. And the first tip is to continue learning, like seek out knowledge. That was my mistake when I hit this cap on like budgeting, or hit this cap in my day job. It's because that I stopped seeking out new things to learn. And what's exciting about this new journey, or even just, you know, making these new type of videos, is that I'm doing research on the back end, and I am learning, and I'm reading books that align with what I'm talking about. And it's exciting. It is exciting to me. So whether you are trying to learn for fun, start a new business venture, or start up a side hustle to bring in extra income, Skillshare, who is the sponsor of this video, makes learning super easy to do. And I've said that in a few videos ago, it's okay to be a 9-to-5 girly. I am trying to be in my 9-to-5 bag. I'm trying to bring in just a newfound passion for my work. And so I have been actively trying to seek out new things to learn when it comes to my job. And Skillshare has been helping me with that. It is the largest online learning community for creatives in whatever capacity. They have thousands of classes that are led by industry experts across topics like productivity, finances, freelancing, design, just whatever it is that you are looking for. And they can help take your career, your skills, your hobbies, passions, or even side hustles, as I was saying, to the next level. And what I love is that they offer learning paths, which are sequential class collections that help you master a specific skill or competency that you're trying to work on. So I've been taking a class called Scrum Basics for Absolute Beginners. Some of you may remember that I said I was trying to learn Scrum, and I am an absolute beginner. Okay, so I needed a beginner-friendly class, but whatever you've been wanting to learn more about, you can find on Skillshare. And the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Go ahead and get started today. And once again, thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. But yeah, I don't think that we were ever meant to stop learning, and that was a mistake that I made. I stopped trying to find new things to learn. Like, I know what I'm doing at work. I am not actively seeking out new things to challenge me. And, you know, when it comes to talking about money as well, I'm not seeking out new things to challenge me or just switching it up completely. And I got to this place of complacency, and it's not a good feeling. You just kind of feel like you're just there. You know, you're not challenged and you're not challenging, and you're not at your fullest potential. And that's something that I hate feeling as someone that likes being a go-getter. The worst thing for me is to get to a place of extreme comfort and not applying myself anymore. And so that was definitely a mistake that I made. And I always say, the dumbest person is the person who thinks that they know everything, because if you know everything, then you block your opportunity to learn. No one can tell you anything. You're not going to actively seek out any new knowledge, because why, when you already think that you know it? And I honestly feel like you're going to get to a place where you've blocked out so many opportunities to learn that you are going to wind up not knowing anything at all. So the more you arm yourself with knowledge, I feel like on whatever it is that you don't feel comfortable in, whatever space you don't feel comfortable in, whatever topic you don't feel comfortable with, whatever place you're feeling inadequate in, your confidence is going to grow, right? And it's going to allow you to make more decisions for yourself, which in turn that's going to help you get out of that sunken place and start taking action towards the things that you really want to do in your mind, but you will not allow yourself to stay consistent with those changes. Another tip that I want to give you is to supply the positive and negate the negative with facts. So based on what we're thinking, we want to feed that perception of ourselves and our environment. So if you are thinking nothing will ever get better, or I'll never get another job, guess what? You are absolutely correct, because what you're going to do is start going through whatever happens in your life and your circumstances to validate your feelings. You are literally looking for something out there to reaffirm, you know, what you're believing. So if you get, you know, another unexpected bill in the mail, you're going to be like, see, I told you things were never going to get better. You're literally going to use that to reaffirm why you thought things were not going to get better. And I find that our perception is often made up of things that aren't facts. Like, they're really just opinions about ourselves based on our experiences and what we've heard in our life. We form those beliefs. And the good thing is that since they are a belief or an opinion, they can be changed. It's not actual facts. And so if you want to change how you're thinking so that you can change your reality, then you need to supply what it is you're trying to accomplish with facts. Like, if you are trying to get a new job, right? Your current belief is that you're not going to get a new job. You're just gonna have to stay here forever until you retire. Switch it up. If you can believe negatively, you have the freedom to switch up that belief. And why wouldn't you want to switch up that belief to something positive? You know, if you have the ability to do so. What is the worst that can happen if you decide to take a negative thought about yourself and change it into something positive? What is the worst that can happen? You're already living with the worst case scenario. So you might as well take a chance and flip it. But in order to flip it, you're going to need to supply it with facts. So using that as an example, if you say like, I'm never going to get another job. Okay, how can we negate that? You've gotten a job before. This is more than likely not your first job. So you were able to leave your previous job and get this new job, okay? So that is a fact. You were able to get another job. So you know that it's possible for you to get another one. And so we have this fact that, you know, you were able to get another job. You were able to leave one job and go to the next job. It doesn't matter if you feel like you barely got through the interview, or you bombed the interview, you got the job. It doesn't matter how you got the job. You were able to do it. And so you will use that experience to supply the positive thought and negate the bad one. Like, what is it that you have at your fingertips to supply this new positive thought. Just like we subconsciously go through life trying to validate our negative thoughts, you're gonna literally have to be intentional about doing this for the opposite. Next tip is to say aloud what it is that you're doing. This tip is relatively new. You guys know I am reading Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it talked about you saying aloud what you're doing. Like, we have these habits that we fall into that we don't really realize we're doing because they're so automated. And so he explained the science behind you actually saying what you're doing aloud so that your brain knows like it's time to change and you're trying to get yourself out of that routine. And like with me, I will take coffee for an example. I have been trying to make more coffee at home to save money. My habit has been me going out to get coffee from the coffee shop. Me waking up just triggers that habit. It's like, oh, I woke up, it's time to go get coffee, because coffee is associated with waking up for me. And so what I do, because I'm going to try to justify why I should be able to keep this habit, because my brain is just used to that, I have been saying what it is that I am doing out loud. I have been saying whenever I want to go to the coffee shop, I want to go to the coffee shop because I have a habit of going out and buying coffee, and I don't want to make it at home because I try to convince myself that it does not taste the same. But really what this is doing is keeping me from reaching the financial goals that I have, because it's costing me money, and then I'm going to feel discouraged at the end of the day because I did not do what I said I was going to do, and I did not stick with the new habit that I'm trying to implement. Something along those lines. Whatever it is that I'm feeling, I am making sure to call myself out. And what it does is it kind of catches your awareness. Like, we're in zombie mode when we're going into these habits, and it kind of catches your awareness, and it's like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I don't need to do that. I need to pull back. I need to think about this before I go into action. And it just creates that space between the thought and the action. And I find that that really helps me. You may feel like a lunatic, but hey, it works. If you got somebody that you're trying to break a connection up with because they're not good for you, it's time for you to cut this off. If you find yourself wanting to pick up that phone and text that man, call yourself out. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm about to text him because I'm lonely, or I don't have anyone to go out with. I really want to go out tonight. I'm bored. I want to put on my good dress and look good. Say it with your mouth. And I promise you, you're going to start taking a second look at what you're about to do. But my camera is about to die, you guys. I really hope that this was helpful, and I will catch you guys in the next video.